Alright, we officially have internet at the cabin. If you watched probably 2 videos ago, we rented the trench digger, dug the trench through the woods, ran the Cat 5 and power out to the point of sight for the internet provider's tower. We ran multiple speed tests while I was here and we were getting 15 down, 3 up. Internet speeds aren't all that great in these rural areas. We actually only get about 10 megs at our other house down, and we're lucky to get 1 up, which is rather frustrating because we're always uploading videos and stuff for our business. It's funny that we have quicker internet here in the middle of the woods than we do in our other house, which is not as remote. We just signed a 1-year contract with this company, and I also signed up for the beta program for Starlink, which, if you don't know what Starlink is, it's Elon Musk's satellite internet service to service all of the remote areas throughout the country. I actually just saw that Michigan got approved and they're going to be able to have service out here in Michigan a lot sooner than I thought. So now that I just signed a 1-year contract, I'm sure I'll get an email from Starlink saying we're approved for the beta program, because that's usually how things work. Comparison, I think Starlink is getting anywhere from 100 to 150 megabits per second download for only $100 a month, and I'm basically paying $80 a month for 15 with the current provider, and that's just kind of all you can get out here at the moment. So as soon as Starlink is available, I think we're going to go ahead and get it, but we might be paying 2 internet bills for the next year or so. But so they got all the equipment hooked up, ran the speed test, getting great speeds. Very excited to finally have internet here at the cabin. This birch tree recently fell because this wasn't here last time I was out here. I have to start cutting up some wood very soon. We got all this free heat just laying here. We need to get to it before it all starts to rot. But we haven't really filmed the last couple times we're here. We've been busy. We've had a lot of jobs and stuff we're working on with our business and stuff, and we would kind of pop in, do a job quick, and then head home. So we haven't been filming much, but I'll head inside and kind of show you where we're at. You saw in one of our last videos, we were working on all this PEX piping.
Absolutely. I want you to know. What do you think? I won't let you go. Give me your heart and soul.
We clamped everything together, kind of got everything buttoned up. Got the water turned on, and we have no leaks. Everything's working perfectly. So the water line is done. So my dad got all the electrical done for us. We don't have to pull any more wire. Everything's wired properly. And then now that the plumbing is also done, we are good to start insulating and laying the tongue and groove on the walls and start finishing the kitchen and the bathroom area of the house. We were just kind of waiting on all that, and now that we got an okay with the internet, we also are good with that. The internet comes in from the outside, from right there, and then we got to connect that piece of Cat 5. We're gonna go up and through and then into the upstairs right there. So now that everything in the walls is complete, we are good to start insulating and laying the tongue and groove. And now that the plumbing is done, we can get a sink base in the new sink and get running water in here. So now I'll take you upstairs. You probably saw in our last video that we hung all the tongue and groove and got it stained up. We also went ahead and put kills all over the floor to seal it in, so we are ready to start laying the floor up here. We have to put all the polyurethane on the walls, and that's what Vanessa's doing right now, which looks great. What would you rather start today?
Well, we're not going to be able to do the floor right away. This is going to have to dry for a little while, so I'm thinking we're going to go downstairs and work in the kitchen for a little bit while this dries, and then we'll come up. I mean, I would like to start the floor today. It just depends what it looks like when it dries, and if we think it needs to be sanded down, and we need another coat. I'm just going to kind of play it by ear, but like immediately when we're done with this, I'm thinking we're going to go downstairs. Slowy pokey. Okay, so we finished polyurethane, everything up here. We're gonna let it dry for a while. Might have to come back upstairs, sand some stuff down, make sure we've got a nice smooth surface. But for now, we're gonna move down to the kitchen and we're gonna do a few things down there.
There's no mountain we can't climb, crossing over the great divide. Take my hand, we'll run away. Here with you, my heart will stay. Here with you, my heart will stay.
Alright, so I got all of that rotted wood that was on the ground out. Next I'm going to just spray foam along the edge there, let it dry, and then I'll hack it off. And then I'll slide in a new piece of treated lumber in there. The bottoms of these boards here are a little soft at the bottom, but I'm not going to fix that right now. Actually, when we do the siding, probably this spring or summer, we will replace probably this whole board and replace that new. But for now, I'll just spray foam along there, slide the new piece in. And once we do the siding outside, I'll take this bottom board down and all that soft wood at the bottom will be replaced with something new. And Vanessa is plugging away on insulation. Oh. Alright, start of a new day. All of that dry foam dried and I hacksawed it off. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it should definitely help with any of the drafts that might have came through. Like I said, we'll probably replace this whole bottom sheet here once we do the siding on the outside. So I think I'm going to get the measurements, cut the 2x4 and get that slid in and anchored in, and I think Vanessa is doing some touch-up painting. And we'll get this ladder out of here and then we will start the floor. Let's try. Alright, I'm going to secure this to the concrete. So I'm going to go ahead and use one of these concrete wedges, one of these concrete anchors. So I'm going to drill a hole, slide it in there, and it should expand and lock that piece into the concrete. Alright, got the concrete anchors in. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but should keep it nice and tight. Got two of them in there. So now I think we're going to go upstairs and start working on the floor. Alright, so before we start the floor, I want to test out our internet. So I got to hook this piece of Cat 5. It looks like they didn't put it on there very good. This piece of Cat 5 up to this piece of Cat 5, and for that I've got one of these. Kind of see it. So hook that, and then that white Cat 5 will go all the way up through here, out to here, and then I'm going to poke that Cat 5 through to go to the upstairs. And I brought a Apple TV to test out the internet because we don't have a wireless router yet. None of our MacBooks have an Ethernet port, and I didn't feel like bringing an iMac over here. So I just grabbed an Apple TV because that has the Ethernet port in the back and a television. So I'm going to hook that up, test out the internet, and there's actually a good boxing match on today at 5:30 that I would like to put on while we're laying floor. What? So Vanessa was up here painting and she heard some scurrying across the floor, and she was totally freaked out because I was pushing the Cat 5 cable through the ceiling, and that's what she heard, and she was totally freaked out.
No, I wasn't.
I have the video evidence. Alright, the Apple TV seems to be working. We got it hooked up to the Ethernet port. I forgot the Apple TV remote, but thankfully you can use your phone as a remote. So let's go ahead and just try playing something. Watch a video. Looks good.
I never knew what love was until I held you.
This one anywhere?
I never knew the right words until I found you.
So we are categorizing all of the boards because we don't want to put the same board too close to each other.
This is bird hole.
And we got names for each board. This one we call the Spotted Darling.
Tell them the name.
This one is Sonlog 1.
It's not Spotted Darling.
That's a Spotted Darling. Sonlog 1, Sonlog 2. This one we call Stripe. This one.
No, that's cracky. That's triple scratch.
Oh, that's Triple Scratch.
Cracky. That's bird hole.
That's burn. That one is Burn
This
Hole.
one doesn't have a name, but this reminds me of clouds here, like this wavy cluster. That's how I always recognize it.
Okay.
7 different styles.
I don't know. How do you think it looks?
I think it looks good. So cabiny.
So this is a rather slow process because we have to make a cut every time we put in a new row, and we're burning through a lot of data running these time lapses. So I think we're just gonna check in once we're done.
Every day before you I was holding out. If you want the stars I can pull them down, baby.
Alright, so today we unfortunately have to peel about 6 of these rows off. If you can see here, there's like a dip in the floor. Of course it's not doing it.
Told you I'm not heavy enough. We've noticed there's a dip here in the floor where it's not flush, so when you walk around it, it puts a lot of strain on the surrounding boards. It's a little square right here. I noticed it when we started flooring, but I didn't think the gap was going to be large enough to infect the integrity of the floor. However, that's not the case. So we're going to rip up these 6 rows that we laid the other day. We've got some thin plywood that we may be able to fill that square with. If it doesn't work, if the plywood's too thick, then we do have some self-leveling floor mix that we'll pour. We'll spread it with a trowel and make it all flush. Fortunately, that has to dry for 24 hours before we can lay any more floor. So we're really hoping that the plywood idea works, but if it doesn't, we do have a backup plan. So we'll see how far we get with that. Ready?
Ready. Unveil this beast.
Doesn't even look that unlevel, you know?
Yeah, this lip right here is what's causing all the problems. And then you can see on this side it's perfectly level, and we didn't have any issues over there. And instead of getting out the floor leveler and making a mess, we actually might take this piece out and then shim this board just to bring it level, because there's only just a few screws here. We'll pop those out, put some shims on this side to get this where it needs to be, and then screw it back down, and maybe that will lift this side up so it'll quit giving us problems. Alright, we got this piece leveled back up. There's a little lip right here. I think we're just going to hit it with the sander and smooth it out a little bit, but it is a lot better than it was. So we'll get that sanded, and then I think we're going to start putting all the flooring back on, and then hopefully finish this room up today.
Alright, now that the floor's fixed, we're going to go ahead and start putting the boards back down. Good. Now I broke my finger.
So here's what it looks like with a 1x8 and a 1x4 going along with the drywall. And here is what it looks like with the two 1x8s. Let us know what you think. What do you think?
I'm leaning towards the 1x8s. Do you think?
I think so, but it might look like a lot of trim right here. So let's see what it's gonna look like. The window guy is coming out what day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So Tuesday, the windows guy is coming out. He's actually replacing all that like rotted wood and stuff. I like the 1x8s. I think it looks nice, but I am afraid once we have this trim on, is that going to be too close? I don't know. I think it'll probably be fine.
Are you gonna hang a picture here?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll look alright. So all what's left we have to do in here is obviously get all the trim in, route out the holes for the electrical outlets, new windows, which the window guys come in Tuesday. We're gonna get a new Anderson window here, as well as that one there, and then a couple downstairs. Obviously getting all the new receptacles in, trim around the windows, get the rest of the baseboard trim. We're actually going to build a custom door for this because it's kind of an odd size. So we will build a custom door for that. We might actually take this furnace out. We plan on putting a dresser here as well as a dresser here. The bed will be in the center and then 2 nightstands. So it should look pretty nice. So yeah, I think we're gonna take this heater out because we're gonna have a dresser sitting there. And then we have this one here which heats it up here pretty well. Yeah, get the trim down, get the rest of the trim in here. And then for this spot, we're gonna leave this open for a little while because we plan on putting in a wood stove downstairs, and this is where the stack is gonna go for the wood stove. We just wanna keep it open until we get that wood stove installed. But eventually we're gonna shiplap that in so it'll match this wall. And then lastly, we're just going to put probably like a 1x8 or 1x6 piece of wood on top of this, just to kind of give it a little more character. And then other than that, we will be done with the upstairs, which is exciting.
What do you think on the floor? Let us know what you think on the floor. Do you like the laminate, or do you think we should have went with carpet?
Okay.